again, I'm here, as Lisa suggested, to make sure that all of your doubts, all of your confusion about how to start your career in Salesforce are going to be managed. Okay. So, Lisa, do you want me to go first for my introduction, or you want
Yeah,
to go
let's.
first?
You do it, Luca. You do it.
Okay, perfect. So, guys, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Luca Manera. I am a Salesforce certified instructor since 2015. So it's been for the last 4 years. Before being a certified instructor, I was a consultant. I'm pretty sure that a big number of today's participants are consultants. If not Salesforce consultants, I'm talking to SAP consultants or in general IT consultants. And I was a consultant as well, as I'm saying. I've worked as a consultant for 5 years, and I devoted entirely my career to Salesforce. Okay, so my 5 years of a consultant career were entirely on Salesforce. I participated into a lot of projects, I should say. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm Italian, so I'm based in Europe, and most of my projects were in Europe, with some exceptions in the United States. I witnessed, well, different industries, different sectors in terms of Salesforce projects, from the manufacturing industry to the technology industry, pharmaceutical also industry, and I've started as an analyst. So by basically working instead of the application as an administrator, this is probably the most common starting point for a lot of functional consultants. And then throughout my career, I evolved. I became an experienced consultant and then a project manager. So I participated from the start to the end of to a lot of projects. So the analysis I've completed a lot of analysis phases, implementations, testing, of course, validation, and training and go live. Then after let's say these 4 to 5 initial years as a consultant, I've switched. I've been contacted directly by Salesforce and I've become a Salesforce certified instructor. Now I have 5 product certifications: admin, advanced admin, sales and service cloud, and app builder. I'm looking forward to get my marketing cloud consultant certification, but it will take for me a little bit of time. Why I'm telling you about the Salesforce certifications? Because of course, if you want to start your career in Salesforce, certifications are a must. Okay, if you want to improve your career, if you want to enhance your career, you need to earn Salesforce certifications. This is just an example. Of course, my career is just an example for you. If you are more technical, there are technical certifications that you can achieve. But again, we'll speak about them later on during our presentation. So this is pretty much it. I will handle all of your questions that are related to the platform or that in general are related to anything related to Salesforce. Of course, if you need any particular advice, you can just refer to me or to Lisa. That's why we are here. Okay. So this is pretty much it. If you have any other question about me, just shoot them and we can manage them all together. That's it on
Okay.
my hand.
Thank you, Luca. So yeah, my name is Elizabeth Kindland. My nickname is Lisa. But I'm based here in Boston. I moved here about a year ago now, where I was based in the London office before that, starting off as a recruitment consultant in IT. So key to partnering solutions. We've been doing IT staffing for the last 20 years. Had a partnership with Salesforce for the last 10 years, where we're the only staffing partner with Salesforce in the US, and we're doing staffing globally in this field. And about 2 years ago, we became an official trading partner with Salesforce as well, and that's sort of something that I've been working on over the last 2-3 years. Following up on my recruitment experience, to career advice, help out with the courses, see, even post courses, what can we do to help out with resumes, career. Um, really end-to-end kind of support. We will explain to you more as well what we, as Cretu University, what do we do as a Salesforce partner. But originally from Sweden, so we both of us have a bit of an accent, Luca and I. We will try and do this as most interesting as possible. And as mentioned, if you have any questions, feel free to raise your hand or type in the question and stop us anytime. This is going to be more of a dialogue than a monologue between Luca and I and you guys. So let's get going into it. So let me see if I can switch. So I think Luca, this one is yours when you're talking about how
Yep.
Salesforce has become the way they
Well,
are
guys,
today.
yeah, well, let's keep it pretty simple. I'm pretty sure that you have heard about Salesforce in your career. If you don't, we are talking about one of the top companies in terms of growing speed. Also, well, you can see the numbers from our screen, but you can also double check them just by googling Salesforce. These are public numbers. So the increase, the increase in growing and also in let's say inefficiency of the company is pretty much proven by these numbers. What I can add in order to actually make the topic a little bit clearer for everybody here is that Salesforce is a company in constant evolution. Okay, what do I mean by that? I mean that they are not just providing their clients a platform, so a tool to use it that is static, that doesn't evolve. The platform is in constant evolvement. Okay, so they keep on performing bug fixing when it's needed, but especially they are performing improvements, enhancements. They keep on release new functionalities, and in particular, I'm referring to the free annual releases that Salesforce has. So summer release, winter release, and spring release. During these releases, Salesforce keeps on providing additional features, additional functionalities to all of the customers. This is pretty much one of the most important aspects of working with this company, of working with Salesforce. And this is one of the secrets behind this growth. Okay, so again, since we are talking about a company that is pretty much the top in the market. If we talk about CRMs, uh, your your career within the usage or within this market, it's gonna be beneficial for you. Okay, so it's gonna be a career full of benefits and of course, let's say, full of very good ways to improve yourselves from a professional point of view, but also from a personal point of view. I will add a couple of things later on, also about the Ohana and the other aspects of the Salesforce perspective. Okay, but this is just an introduction to let you understand that this is a company that values not only the profit but also the growth of the people that work for them and with them. So not only internal employees but also partners like us and like you if you start working with them. Okay, that's the main topic here. If you want to move it forward, Lisa.
Yes, let me just see here. Okay, so I can just follow off here what
Yeah.
one of the key important things about Salesforce as a CRM, a customer relationship management tool, is that it's in constant evolvement, and acquisitions are being made. Most recently, the analytics tool Tableau, which was a big thing in the media, and MuleSoft, obviously, not too long ago either. And I think that's one of the reasons why you see here Salesforce on the top as one of the leaders and visionaries in terms of other CRM tools. You obviously have competition as Microsoft, SAP, Oracle, and Pegasystems being sort of up there, up with the leaders, but also because, as you see down here, you have more niche players. You have Sugar CRM, which was used to be a very popular tool, as well still is for some industries out there. But one thing that's very important to know is that why Salesforce is keep being really the up and coming and the most foremost and the best one out there is because it can speak to a lot of different industries and different types of clients, and as mentioned, Lucas said he has a lot of different industry experience because it doesn't only work with financial customers or food and beverage, but for everything. So Salesforce can be used in smaller companies and also bigger companies. If we have bigger clients like Coca-Cola, Cretu is a Salesforce partner and also Salesforce user. So this is something that I use on daily basis as well, where we would be considered as a smaller customer compared to Coca-Cola, which is a huge company out there. So that's
Yeah,
really, if Luca wants to add anything there.
yeah, actually, just to add my personal experience here. As I was saying before in my introduction, it happened to me to work with very different companies that were using Salesforce, utilities companies, pharmaceutical companies, manufacturing companies. So we are talking about companies that are basing their business on very different aspects. So think about pharmaceutical companies. They are based on a very niche and specific market. Instead, a manufacturing company, it's on a complete different side of the market. Okay, so with Salesforce, with the same platform, we can actually make sure that both of these different markets are satisfied with a single platform. How? By using the out of the box features and also by using the development platform that Salesforce provides to all of our customers. Okay, so just wanted to add this a little bit more technical aspect of the system, but just to make sure that everybody's on the same track on this as well. So thanks a lot, Lisa, for this one.
Thank you. Let's see how we can get going here. Um, Still, one reasons why, if we're looking into the market as a whole, so we have talked about the platform and why it's better than others. But if we're looking at the market, and why are we actually doing this kind of webinar? Why are we looking into having more people certified into the market? Is due to it's so many, as you see here, Salesforce has done an IDC report where they're planning on to add on 3.3 new million jobs by 2022. And it's just a global spectrum, as you see, both Europe and the US, and even in Asia, they have um, a big market where they are adding on new jobs, and also obviously with new jobs adding into the ecosystem also comes jobs that's going to be supporting the Salesforce system, sort of indirectly Salesforce jobs that is not included into this report. So even out there right now, there's a huge skills gap, and that's one of the reasons why Salesforce came to K2 and wanted us to help out skill up the workforce, the current workforce. That's a huge gap that they had difficulties reaching out to and getting certified as well. Um, if you look at salaries, it's always a little bit above market salaries for other system admin jobs or developer jobs as a global spectrum. And up and down, but around 300,000 job postings are directly asking for Salesforce or Salesforce related skills right now. And I always encourage people after my webinars and calls that I have to do a little search in their area. What can they find in Salesforce in their area? What kind of jobs can be on job boards? Bearing in mind that most jobs are not on the job boards when it comes to Salesforce out there, which might be a little bit tricky, but we have specialized recruiters reaching out to our Salesforce community for jobs as well. So it's sort of a little bit of a black hole there in between of what is actually out there and also so much more out there that we can see. Okay, so 3.3 million jobs, new jobs added in the next, we're coming towards almost the end of 2020. So if by 2022. So that's why, Salesforce is really pushing us to help them and also for us to help you guys to sort of see maybe a potential new career as well. So I think that's about it. If anyone has any questions so far, feel free to stop us or raise your hands or use the chat box feature. But I think I want to get Luca to explain this a little bit more in terms of what is actually needed to become a Salesforce consultant. It's actually might be having easier, not easier, but a very you know not so much needed in terms of IT skills. But I'll let Luca continue on this one.
Yeah. So, well, I'm pretty sure that most people here that already worked in our webinar, that already worked in the IT market, already have these skills. So we are talking about soft skills here: communication, the capability in order to organize our job, organize our teams, organize the people that are working on a specific project. So, of course, problem solving. Well, all of the companies are looking for people that can solve their problems. Project management, so we're talking about leaders here, and troubleshooting as well. Troubleshooting and problem solving, they go pretty much in parallel. But again, in here we're talking about soft skills that you may have already acquired in your previous jobs, in your previous the previous part of your career. For example, it happened to me, to a lot, actually to a lot of my students in my courses that are coming from SAP, to already have this kind of skills. So we're talking about professionals that already worked in IT projects, so they know how to organize a project, they know how to work with different teams all together, they know how to solve problems. So these are all of the soft skills that you usually acquire when you're working in the IT market. Okay, salesperson is just wants to invest on your already existing experience, on your already existing skills, and with a little bit of help from K2, or in general, with a little bit of pushing in terms of technical skills, make you consultants, Salesforce consultants. Okay, so in other words, these are skills that I expect anybody who has already worked for, I would say, 2-3 years in the market to already possess, or to already, let's say, manage. Okay, the other part, the technical skills, the functional skills related to the platform, this is everything that you can acquire. I'm not saying easily, but I can say with a little bit of effort. Okay, but again, one more time, if you already worked in an IT project, I'm pretty sure that you have at least some of these skills that Salesforce wants from you. Okay, there you go, Lisa. If you want,
Yeah.
make it.
Take the next one. Okay.
Yeah, this is yours.
So, it's sometimes I'm gonna discuss a little bit more about the career paths, but this is very hard to have a generic level of, because we have people attending from different kind of backgrounds and also different countries. So this is very generic kind of salaries, and if you're looking for what is your sort of salary expectations in your area, I would, either you come to me after the webinar, we can do it together, or you just have a little Google on Glassdoor or something like that. But please make sure to add in where you live, because sometimes it could be a lower salary expectation if you're living in Madrid than in Germany, for example. But as you see here, there are different sort of paths. The two most clear ones are the functional and the technical. So if we're looking at a junior level, kind of, you're coming in, starting off as a Salesforce administrator, so a little bit more of a functional, but it could be a beginning of a technical background, or technical career. In the US, depending on where you live, we see salaries starting from around 75 up to $120,000. Maybe if you're living in San Francisco, obviously it's a higher rent and cost of living, which takes up the salaries as well, or if you're working remotely and so on. NE means sort of North Europe. That's sort of my little abbreviation of that, but looking more towards around 40,000 to start off when you're getting out as a certified administrator, and south of Europe, 25,000 euros a year. In Salesforce, which is different from example SAP, technical skills gets more, it has a higher salary expectations, and depending on which level you are at, we can see different salaries there as well, but around 90 to 160 will be more on the higher level of seniors. But you can see it goes up each year, but also goes up a little bit more if you're a developer, especially in north of Europe and in the US. Salesforce managers can also be Salesforce consultants, obviously have a higher salary as well. And as mentioned, it could be a junior kind of Salesforce manager as well. If we go into 5 years later, as mentioned, the US ones keep the same. Um, it's just depending on where you are in your career and where you're living in the US. And as mentioned, check and Google as well. North of Europe, coming up to 70,000, it can definitely go up after that, as a developer and a sales and service cloud consultant, which is more of a senior level and more certifications that can definitely bring up your salary. South of Europe still has high, above market salaries of about 50,000, 40 to 50,000, depending on which of these career paths you're taking. Um, and as mentioned, this is definitely, as you see, Salesforce administrator and Salesforce manager are sort of two functional kind of paths, where Salesforce developer and sales and service cloud consultant can be, both technical and functional. Obviously, as a developer, you can proceed and become a technical architect and make even more money, or solution architect, or a senior developer, and so on. So, as well as in IT, you have, developers, architects, administrator support. We have see the same in Salesforce. So if you have any questions and you want more, of a conversation, which path you should take, we can help out with that as well, and see, what do you want to do and what do you want to work with as well. I think, for example, Luca here has taken more of the functional route than the technical. I know, Luca isn't too keen on doing Apex and Visualforce development, but he's been doing quite good anyway, from my understanding, working
Yep,
together.
yep. Just to add a couple of words on my hand as well. I'm doing good. Yes. No, I'm joking. Actually, it's exactly as Lisa said. So, um, is if you are a functional consultant, so you are not willing to code, to program, to let's say become more technical. Of course, your career path is going to be absolutely different from a technical let's say from a technical consultant, in terms of economics, of course, but also in terms of your operational skills and your operational efforts inside of the platform. A functional consultant usually aims to become a project manager at some point, so to manage different teams inside of a specific project, but also can aim to become a specialized consultant on a specific aspect on the platform. For example, we can have some guru. We call them gurus sometimes, like the Indian gurus. So you can become a guru in analytics and reporting, or in forecasting, in sales. Again, there are so many different aspects in Salesforce from the functional side that you can specialize on, that I can't even count them right now. On the technical side, instead, you're gonna be a programmer. That's what is requested from you. Your career is gonna be different from the economic side because your salaries are gonna be higher. You can become a manager, a technical manager as well, so you can coordinate different teams. But your Salesforce career is gonna be always related to coding, to programming. So you're going to be more focused on the technical aspect on a project than the functional aspect. Okay, so again, it's as usual, it's the usual situation you can encounter in each and every IT project. Okay, you have the functional side and the technical side. And then in Salesforce, last thing I'm adding, you can also have some people that are in the middle. So you can have some technical consultants that can also do business stuff, can also do functional stuff. Okay, those are the most valuable on the market, because again, with just one single person, let's say one single consultant, two positions can be managed inside of a company. Okay, again, we are talking about very general examples here, but it's just to give you an understanding on how it works in here. And that's it. Yeah.
Okay, I think we have a question here from Mehdi. I'm not sure, you raised your hand. I wasn't quick enough here, but I will unmute you now. So if you have a question, feel free to jump in. If not, mute yourself again. But the floor is yours if you want it, or just type in the question and we can try back.
Uh, Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear
loud
you.
and clear.
Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to you. And I have a question. Actually, I have a couple of questions. I'm going to
Sure.
ask later. But my question related to the this topic is that you talked about functional and technical uh, path in Salesforce. So can you talk more about, okay, which jobs are functional, which jobs are technical? For example, we're talking about Salesforce administrator, so it should be functional, right? And developer should be technical. Okay, that's obvious. But can you dig in and tell us more about that? And um, is and another question is that, for example, I want to start with functional, and how can I go to technical side? Is this a possibility for that or not?
So yeah, I can answer to both of them. No worries. First one, dig in a little bit more about the difference between functional and technical. So to keep it simple, the administrator, as you said, of course, it's functional, and any job, any position that doesn't require the use of coding inside of the platform, that is functional. Okay, so we are talking about declarative positions, declarative operations inside of the system. What do I mean by declarative? Point and click. Okay, so anything that is point and click inside of the platform. So I'm going very detailed here. So point and click means using the mouse. Okay, anything that is configuration, so that is related to working with the out of the box functionalities of Salesforce, that is related to a functional position. So an administrator, as you said, it's a functional position, of course. On the other hand, anything that is code related, so any development, any custom feature that a client may need, um, any custom application as well, any custom integration with other systems. So, for example, when you want to integrate Salesforce with SAP, everything in this area is technical. Therefore, you need a developer, you need a technical consultant to perform these kind of operations. Okay, so this is the big difference between a functional position and a technical position. To attach the next question and to reply to the next question, is there a possibility for a functional to become a technical consultant? Yes, of course. If you already know a little bit of coding, and what do I mean by coding? If you have a basic understanding of Java, C++, JavaScript, HTML, so the most standard programming language is Python as well, you have the basics that you need in order to learn how to develop in Salesforce. Okay, because Salesforce uses some custom programming languages. They are called Apex and Visual Force. Plus, there are also the Lightning components, but let's keep them aside for now. To learn those programming languages, you need to have a little bit of a programmer background. Okay, so know at least the basics of the mentioned uh, programming languages.
Perfect. Let's see. Okay, I hope
In my
everyone can.
career,
I think you're breaking up a little bit, Luca. Is it from my side? I think. Let's see. I think. Did we lose? I think we lost Luca. Or did we lose me? Yes, I think we lost Luca there for a second. Not sure why this happens um, when we have webinars and when we have to rely on technology. Um, but I hope he comes back soon. But anyway, I'll just wrote to him to see if we can get this continue going. This is
hello.
really
Can you
okay.
hear me
Now we
now?
can. We can hear you again.
Okay, cool. I don't know why, but I lost you for some seconds. So, did you hear the reply to the first question? So, the difference
Yes.
between functional and technical. Okay, I'm just going straight for the second one. So, this being said, in my career, and I'm just telling you out of my experience, it was I've seen a lot of technical people, so technical consultants, becoming functional because, as you can imagine, it's easier from a technical background to learn how to configure an existing platform. It's just easier. On the other side, it's a little bit more complex for a functional person to learn how to code, to learn how to become technical. It's not impossible. I've seen that quite sometimes, but it happens, let's say, more often to see the opposite. So a technical person, a technical consultant, becoming also functional. Okay, but again, no, there are no boundaries. There are no limits on what you can do. If you, of course, put some effort into it, you can learn how to do that, and that's absolutely not impossible. Okay, the two career paths, functional and technical, are not by default parallel, are not by default separated. Okay, it happened to me also sometimes to perform some again some technical operations instead of the system. I learned them on the job. No, nobody explained them to me. That to me, I learned them on the job. Okay, this is just part of your evolution as a professional, I would say. And in terms of certifications, you have different certifications. If you take a look into into the Salesforce website, there are, let's say, a lot of examples on which career path you can take. Let's keep it simple. If you want to start a career as a functional consultant, you need to start with the admin certification. That's the most common one. If you want to start your career as a technical consultant, the developer platform one, it's your best choice. There is another one that is the app builder certification. Well, that's the one in the middle. Okay, I've seen some people starting with that one as well, but it's in the middle between admin and the developer platform one. But again, these are the free certifications that you should take into consideration if you want to start your career with Salesforce. After achieving this one, what I usually do is to have separated conversation and individual conversation with my clients or with my students on how to move forward, which could be the next steps. Okay, and we can do that as well, of course. This is something that I can do with everyone. That's pretty much it. Let me see, because I have another question from Jamie Lee. Should be good to get a computer programmer certificate as well to be a. Well, no, you don't need to get a computer programmer certification. As Lisa suggested before, most of companies are nowadays actually requesting you Salesforce related certifications. So, for example, as I mentioned, the platform app builder, the admin certification. So you don't need to get another certification on top or to start with an external certification. You can start directly with a Salesforce certification and you can get a job with that one. This is maybe Lisa can add a couple of words on this because she's more knowledgeable about the market in the US, but I'm pretty sure that at least in Europe it works like this. What do you say, Lisa?
I would say the same. I mean, as all the jobs maybe out there, a lot of jobs in general just require a bachelor's degree. What we do see is most of our students that we have, within K2 as we are working towards the workforce, is that they come from various backgrounds, and it doesn't have so much to do about what degree they have at all. So computer science or anything like this doesn't really have to be in the background of most of our students and Salesforce trailblazers, as they call it. For Salesforce and for Salesforce clients, it's much more of a passion for the system and passion for the work and certifications, as mentioned. And certifications are very important in Salesforce as it is a cloud based solution. Changes keep happening throughout the year, so you have to keep your knowledge up to date. And that's why certification is very important. So if you haven't worked for the Salesforce system for 2 years, things have happened on the back end and in the front end that you need to keep yourself up with. Um, I wouldn't recommend to go through a whole new degree if you want to go into Salesforce. And I think that's one of the successes that we see with our students as well. So I hope that answers this question. And I think we can just continue on. And if you have any questions on the different careers, type in the question or raise the hand again. I saw that you did that, Jamil. So we can just take that from, if you want to continue off on that, feel free to do that. But what I want to show, which we started discussing, is that coming off to the different careers is also where do we work, where do we get a job in Salesforce. I think once we've done the certification, we've done all the hard work, and we've passed our first certification, what kind of clients do we see? As mentioned, Salesforce comes in both bigger and smaller clients. I think, coming in with no experience, you can join a bigger team of Salesforce administrators at McDonald's, for example. Or you go in as the main administrator at a smaller company with 30 users, with 30 agents that you're helping out as well. So it's different ways of doing it. But what I think is interesting with this one in the international clients is the range of sectors again. So smaller to bigger companies are using Salesforce. We should have a little K2 logo here as well, because we are using Salesforce as well, where we do have our own administrators and support and developers. We have a development team sitting in Brazil doing our system as well and expanding that. So that comes from most of our customers as well. Okay, so if anyone has any questions on jobs or clients, also always have a look in your area. But as you see, there are different kinds of clients as well. So I think we've already mentioned a little bit of this, but I think Luca can also continue on what does a consultant actually do. I know that you mentioned, this a little bit throughout this webinar, but I think this could be interesting, to explain how does a day-to-day look like for a Salesforce consultant or an administrator, where most people start.
Yeah. I mean, we are talking about very general aspects here of a daily life of a Salesforce consultant, but of course, it's quite interesting for you to understand which could be your actual operations inside of the system. So, if you want to start your career in Salesforce, for sure you need to understand the system. Okay, you need to work inside of the system. You need to understand how to configure the system. Once you have that kind of basic knowledge of the system, then you may have different, let's say, different functions, different also different jobs in a single company. You can support some users in order to achieve their sales targets. So working with the business, okay, understand what the business need in terms of improving their selling skills, improving their usage of the system, and then try to configure to implement a solution for them. Analytics is one of the best aspects of Salesforce. Lisa already mentioned Tableau, so the acquisition of Tableau, but in parallel with Tableau, Salesforce already has a out-of-the-box in-house analytics module that works very nicely. Okay, so for all of you, all the ones of you that already worked with a BI tool, a BI system, if you start working with Salesforce, you will see that for a CRM, having this kind of analytic tool is absolutely killing it. Okay, it's absolutely fantastic. Then marketing strategies, support strategies. Again, we are talking about here two different aspects of specific projects. So marketing, for example, campaigns, helping your team, helping your company to create campaigns and to market their product all over the world. Support, so support existing clients for a specific company, making sure that all of their requests are fulfilled, making sure that our customers are happy. Okay, because again, a Salesforce company has that as primary objective. If their customers are happy, the company is of course an healthy company, and of course could be also a rich company in addition to that. And again, these are just some examples. Mobile application, of course, so making sure that our users can access the system not only from the computer, the laptop, but also from the smartphone. Salesforce has a very nice mobile application out of the box, already pre-built. People just needed to download it and they are good to use it. Okay, so again, these are just some examples of your daily life as a Salesforce consultant. Of course, it depends on which is going to be your position inside of the company, but you have a glimpse, you have a general understanding right now on how it works. And if you have questions, additional questions about this, feel free to shoot them. I can see another question, Lisa, in
Yeah.
our yeah. So can you talk about opportunities in non-profit? So
Yes. So obviously I think one interesting thing, thank you for the question here, about nonprofits. So obviously we can look at bigger nonprofits or smaller ones. But one interesting thing that Salesforce are doing, I'm not sure if this is what you mean, but is that they're giving out licenses. So obviously each Salesforce user has a license. So myself as a Salesforce user, even Luca as a Salesforce user of our system has a Salesforce license. So we're registered with Salesforce so we can use their system as a company as well. So all nonprofits, smaller, gets 10 free licenses to start, so they can run their own company. But also bigger nonprofits like the Red Cross, for example, are using Salesforce. So nonprofits could be a great start for those who want to do some volunteering and help out as a Salesforce administrator. A lot of those administrators also get a little bit of a lot of heavy work with configuration, because it's not that they have that Coca-Cola would have a huge team of Salesforce administrators, but they would have a smaller one. So nonprofits and NGOs and so on is also using Salesforce, and Salesforce acts heavily with the 111, so the Ohana and 111 sort of concept that they should donate money and also donate licenses to nonprofits. So it's a big work that they're doing and a big push. But nonprofits are definitely using Salesforce as well as on all levels. I hope that explains it. So let me see. Okay. Okay, so what do we do then? So, what does Luca and I actually do? So Luca and I, we work for K2 University. As mentioned, it is a part of our, education group here at K2, where we work together with a recruitment team constantly in terms of education and work placement. So we are an official Salesforce partner. So in, for example, the DACH region, so Germany, Switzerland, Austria, we are the provider of all the Salesforce courses in the region, so the public course schedule. So if you go on and look for a course in Frankfurt, those courses are delivered by K2. We're also doing the same in Brazil, for example. In the US and globally, we are working also towards the workforce, where we're helping out, we were helping out customers in terms of career advising. Then we go on and we talk about education and training and why it's important to do official training and how that can help you towards the certification. And then we work towards work placement. As we are a staffing partner, not a consultancy. We can't hire us, all you guys within K2, but we can help you towards a work placement either through K2 or through any local companies or recruitment partners that are out there, maybe in an area where we are not operating right now. But we are happy to help you with resume building, LinkedIn building, help out, towards the right direction. And with this, you always have ongoing support throughout the entire process in terms of a multi-language team and also with our instructor. So this is sort of how we work on. As an official partner, still nothing is made up by K2. We have Luca here, but it's one of our instructors, but we have instructors sitting globally as well, working together with us on this as well. So
yep.
Let me see. So yes, we're gonna go. So I just got a question here from Katarina. So I think I'm just gonna go on to the next slide. We will explain a little bit more because I got the question here saying, is it possible to have training and education online? And that's very much what we're gonna do. It's a great question. So as I've already mentioned here, we're an authorized training partner. but we are, especially when it comes to the workforce, our courses are run online. So we are normally, for example, to become a certified administrator, if you go in specifically into the market, into the certifications, it's a 40-hour course. So it's 40 hours that normally run, a 8 till 5, Monday to Friday, in a classroom or webinar setting. As K2, we have realized that a lot of our customers are working professionals. 8 hours on a webinar might be very intense. I mean, I think, we're going through a webinar right now, and I think, even after soon an hour, are sort of, it's getting intense. So we have divided the class over 3 to 4 hours. So it's running over 2 to 2.5 weeks instead, all online, but interactive kind of setting. So as Luca is talking to you right now, he will talk to you in a webinar. So classroom, we have those as well in some of our regions, and some of them don't. But one thing that I think it's very important, I think also that Luca can explain too as well, is that the web, it's hands-on. So you get a training tool with all of our courses that has set up exercises where you run your own company, which I think is super exciting. So you basically work as a Salesforce administrator, learning with our instructor, until you feel comfortable to do this exercise yourself. And towards the end, as an exam preparation together with our instructor. And you always have access to Luca or any other instructor that we have until you pass the exam. And even afterwards, we tend to keep in contact with our students, see where they're going, and if they need any further help. But that's sort of what I think I want to explain to you about training education online. I'm not sure, Luca, do you have anything to add on, how we set up and how you work as an
Yeah,
instructor, for example?
yeah. Actually, just to add a couple of information about this part, all of my classes are running for no more than usually 3 hours per day, because you are already, most of you are already working probably, so it becomes quite stressing to have a full day, a full day work, and then you access to my webinar and you follow me for more than 3 hours. So we discovered that 3 hours is the best for each and every one to be able to follow me completely. And just like Lisa said, that my sessions, but in general, our sessions in K2 for our courses are pretty much interactive. So I'm providing you, or actually Salesforce is providing you an online demo org, so an online platform in which you can practice during our session. And basically, we are trying to understand some of the requirements, some of the examples that could come up as requirements in a project, and we are also implementing them. So you are going to have hands-on directly during my sessions, or at the end of the sessions. It depends on how many people we have, but it also depends on how do you want to proceed. I usually keep this pretty open. If you wanted to work together with me, that's cool. If you wanted to look at me, look at my demos, and then do it later on, that's fine as well. The next day, the next session, I usually reserve some time in order to go through everything that we have done, and of course to answer to all of your questions. So again, it's pretty interactive in order for you, first of all, to understand how to work inside of the platform. Then my second objective, it's going to be to make sure that you are going to pass the certification exam, because as we already said, getting those certifications is fundamental for you to start a job, to work inside of the market. Companies are requesting certification, ladies and gentlemen. This is the this is the truth. There is no escape to this. Okay, so my objective, my second objective instead of my sessions, is to make sure that you have all of the instruments, all of the tools in order to pass the certification exam. Okay, that's why at the end of each and every course, I usually provide some tips and tricks, some examples specifically oriented to pass the certification exam. This is, by the way, something that we only do in K2, because as I told you, I worked in Salesforce previously. In Salesforce, we didn't have a preparation for certification. I mean, we had that, but that was an additional exam, sorry, an additional course, okay? An additional course separated from the actual course. So, additional cost. In K2, this is automatically included, Okay, but we can discuss about this if you have questions later on as well. Okay, I can see a question. Can you talk about the resources? Oh yeah, sure. So, well, when you want to prepare for the exam, a Salesforce course it's the best because it gives you the hands-on experience, the theoretical knowledge of all of the aspects, all of the features that you might use in Salesforce, and in Cretu we also provide you all of the tips and tricks, as I said, to pass the certification exam. In terms of resources, we are going to use a couple of ebooks that Salesforce provide us. So ebooks plus the demo org for the hands-on, so a practice org in which you can work, in which you can perform some exercises. Plus, we are going to use Trailhead, the online system, the online self-study platform that Salesforce provides to every consultant. Okay, that's automatically available for everyone. It's for free. You can have a look inside of the internet. Okay, you just Google Trailhead, or we can provide you further information later on. And for the job interviews, I'll pass the ball to Lisa.
Yes, of
Yeah.
course. So yeah, as mentioned here in the slide before, we're coming towards the end of the webinar, and this is really where it comes important to talk about, what's happened after a course, what happens after certifications, and job interviews, and so on. So obviously, we've been doing recruitment for the last 20 years, and I myself had looked at a lot of different resumes. We've been skilled on how should a resume look like for different kinds of jobs. So that's, towards that as well. We're happy to give you advice on how to pass an interview. What are tips and tricks on how to pass an interview? What kind of questions should you ask in an interview in Salesforce? It's not all about, you have to interview the company as well. And once you have those skills you really learn throughout the course, we've seen high success rates from our students coming out and getting their job, and everyone taking their time to find the jobs that they want, throughout our help, just by maximizing their LinkedIn. That could be a simple thing like that. It doesn't have to be, a lot of time it doesn't have to be something complicated on how to make yourself more visible on LinkedIn or on your resume, or how to do interviews. And as we do staffing, we also have a recruitment team that we can connect you with as well, to help you get that dream job, even if it's through K2 or another company that might be in your area. So hope that answers the question. I'm happy to unmute you as well. I know that you raised your hands, but I really want to just open up for more questions. I think that's all that we have to say about Salesforce. As mentioned, if you want, I will follow up everyone that attended with the recording and also with additional information about myself and Luca. Feel free to connect us on LinkedIn. I'll send those over to you guys. We want to broaden our network as it is. Feel free to give feedback on the webinar. But also, if you're interested in having a call one-to-one about your career in Salesforce and the market where you live, and also find out how can we register for a course and the benefits and so on, I'm really happy to do that as well, or anyone that you might have been in contact with before from K2. But I'm gonna open up the floor for any additional questions. If you come up with a question afterwards, you will have our email address as well. But I will send an unmute request here to Mehdi, who is wants to say something. I think you can talk now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Thanks so much for your valuable information. So one thing about
Sorry, Mehdi. I don't know if it's just me, but you are very low. Your
No,
voice is very low. I can hear you
Now
pretty
it's
far
better.
away. Yeah,
now
now
it's
it's
a lot
better.
better.
Now it's way better.
Okay, thank you. So my question is about the Salesforce. So based on your experience, so Salesforce is pretty big, and I used to work with Salesforce as well. But Salesforce is big and it's bigger and bigger in terms of the module and the things that add to the in order to develop the performance. So what's your suggestion in terms of um, finding the job in terms of modules that are necessary to know and be master on that. So based on your experience, you, for example, say, okay, dashboards, reports are very important, opportunities are important, sales uh, campaigns are important. What are the most important modules that you recommend to be master on that, and that helps us to be more marketable?
Well, it's a difficult question, Mehdi, because it really depends on which career you want to have. I mean, if we're talking about a functional consultant, for example,
Excuse me,
of course,
I cut you.
you're a functional consultant
Yeah, as admin.
as admin. Okay, so as admin, um, pretty much anything that is in our course, it's valuable. It's something that you need to master for a very simple reason. Because if you don't master those modules, and I'm going to tell you which modules in a second, you are not going to pass the certification exam. Okay, so in terms of level of understanding, in terms of basic knowledge, you need to be able to configure the platform in terms of creating new objects, creating new fields, making sure that the visibility and the security is set in the correct way, perform reports and dashboards, export and import data using the necessary tools. Again, work with security and pretty much automation. That's another element that is quite fundamental to master. All of those modules that are pretty much the modules of the ADM 201 or ADX 201 course are fundamental for you if you want to become an admin in general, if you want to work as an admin instead of the platform. And second of all, but maybe should be the first objective, to pass the certification exam. Because again, I know that I've already said this, but this is very important. Companies nowadays will start their research of new personnel, of new people to hire, starting from the certifications, the Salesforce certification. So either you already have a big career on your background, and therefore it's just a matter of studying a little bit and getting your certification. So that's a situation for which companies will probably hire you even if you don't have a certification. But if you have a certification, a Salesforce certification, so the admin in this case, it's a boost. Okay, so companies first of all don't need to invest in your training because you already have that certification, and therefore they are, let's say, more willing to hire you in this situation. And that's it. The modules that I mentioned, but anyways, are the answer to your question. Are there any other question or anything you want to ask us? Anything that still confuses you?
As mentioned, we are happy to have a follow-up call, one-to-one, and I am really happy to have if any questions that you have, after this that you want more information about, let me know. I will send you my contact details and some more information and the recording of this webinar, a little bit more about our course schedule if you're interested in get going towards your Salesforce career. But I think just want to thank everyone for attending and all the good questions that we've seen. As mentioned, if anything comes up, feel free to reach out to us. But I really appreciate your taking our time during the day or evening or where you are in the world. And I really appreciate Luca for attending this as well, obviously.
No problem at all, of course.
Okay, well, I think we will see here if we finish it as we can. And thank you for the good feedback there. But yeah, we're happy to send more information. And yeah, thank you so much. I will let everyone go now.
Yep. Hope to see you soon in one of our courses, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
It was a pleasure to meet you all.
Me too. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody. Have a nice rest of the day.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.